and now 102.3 FM.
Enlightening, I should say, not lifting. Enlightening trip especially for me. And anyway, we're going to tell you about it all today. So part one will be on the actual trip itself to Rome and Italy and Napoli, Italy, basically.
And Greece.
And in about 2 weeks, we're going to have a gentleman on from Celebrity Cruise Line. And we took a cruise on one of their newest ships, the Edge, that you always see on TV now. And that was fantastic. So anyway, I'm kind of relaxed. It's been the last 3 days. I've been kind of jet lagging. I guess you hit it the first 2-3 days, Izzy. And how you're doing okay now, right? A little better?
Yeah, I was absolutely wiped out.
I've never seen you sleep so much.
Yeah, I've never gone to bed by 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, that's unreal. Because usually it's a 2 a.m. deal, I'm working, whatever. I couldn't keep my eyes open past 6 p.m. So, yeah, and it's not any time different. The time difference, great. But if you look at the time, it really didn't correspond to the time I was going to sleep when I was in Europe. So it's just kind of weird. Anyways.
Yeah, but anyway, we're all recovered now. And anyway, we're going to talk about a little bit of some of the trips we went on. And let's start with the airlines. We went on American Airlines. Very, very, a lot of people, when I mentioned the trip, they mentioned, the sanitation, this and that, sanitizing and stuff. And they were very good, both on the airlines and on the cruise, and also in the countries, Italy and Greece. They all wore masks. Everything was sterilized. I mean, they really, kept their distance. Very, very calming. It was good. I mean, on the way back, we were able to, if you wanted to wear a mask, you can. If not, take it off. But everyone was very respectful, and that was good. Going up there, because we went from here to Dallas, and then from Dallas to Rome. So we got free food there, kind of free food.
Free food? What do you mean by free food?
On American Airlines, they fed us.
Well, yeah, because it's a 12-hour flight.
Yeah, but I said kind of food because I asked for a diabetic diet. I'm a type 2 diabetic, no problem with that. So I figured, okay, I won't have any carbs, and I'll be good in that. So my meal came first a small, very, very small salad with balsamic vinaigrette. That was good, no problem. Then it came with a roll. Okay, you need some carbs. Then it came with a bag of pita chips. Okay, more carbs. Then they had a little container of hummus that was partially frozen, so it was gritty. That wasn't real good. Then I opened up the main entree, and it was basmati rice, more carbs, tasteless spinach. It was supposed to be like a saag paneer without the cheese, and frozen cauliflower or something. It was like a curry cauliflower, just awful. And it had some potatoes in it. But one thing that was missing was protein. Hello, on a diabetic diet, you need some protein. Nothing. Then I think they gave a cookie. So it was carb, tasteless, carb, no protein whatsoever.
And sugar.
Yeah. And then Izzy's, you had what? A little.
I did a low sodium because I didn't want to all bloated on the flight. You don't really drink enough water when you travel, and then you don't want to be all puffy when you land. So I did a low sodium, low cholesterol diet meal. Because usually on the flights, I don't know, it's already stressful to get ready to get to the trip. So my body's already
hungry mode.
Well, hungry and stressed and whatever. So nothing really digests really well. And I didn't want to sit on the plane for 12 hours miserable. So I'm just okay, something simple. It's always good. And in the past when I traveled internationally monthly, I always ask for a special meal because that way you get to kind of have some sort of idea, mindset. Okay, what am I getting? Usually it's either kosher meal or a Muslim meal or something. Because for me, it's okay, they're hermetically sealed. It's a higher power. They're adhering to, and I won't get food poisoning. So I'm yeah. That just check off the boxes. So this time's first time I ever do a low sodium, low cholesterol. It wasn't bad. It just had absolute zero.
No flavor.
Zero flavor.
Right.
The sauce, supposed to be a tomato sauce, I think, right? No flavor. Well, at least there's some
But
tomato.
I can't remember. Did they give you a
flavor.
little packet of salt and?
No,
pepper?
not at all. Oh wait, well, yes. In the utensil package, there's a little packet of salt and pepper.
Okay, so you can add to it. That's fine. Hey, on mine they didn't even have that.
Okay, my salad dressing, 0. Gave me a pack of olive oil. What am I doing with a pack of olive oil
No
on
vinegar?
salad with nothing? It's so bizarre. I'm like, why do I need? Actually, I had 2 packs of olive oil. I'm like, okay, what is that for?
So basically, the meal was
I mean, it's good. I mean, I've learned to lower my expectations on airline food. So when it comes out really amazing, I'm like beside myself.
Now, on the way back, the food was much better.
Well, because it was made in Italy.
Yeah.
The American food is awful. I think all the American catering companies, it's been it's like a miss. I think every flight I've been, even on first class, their food's just a miss.
Yeah,
It used to be such a pleasure.
A
Like
joy,
I
right.
look forward to being first class and get my meal, because after a long day at work, and now it's like, oh my God, it's like a torture. I rather just not eat at that
On the
point.
way home, again, the meals were made from Italy, and they were okay until the snack time came, and they gave me. Mine was a diabetic. It was a piece of pizza. It was supposed to be
That wasn't snack. Oh yeah, that was
pizza
between
with
the dinner
cheese
and yeah.
basil, but it was like horrible. Just I couldn't even eat it. So
Mine was lactose. It's a dairy-free, not real cheese, and then gluten-free pizza, and really,
it was, which is okay if it was
it was
good.
hot.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway,
It was, it was food. It carried me over till I landed. So
I
it's
really want
okay.
to do some specials on food on the airline. So I'm gonna try to get a hold of them. so.
Qantas is amazing.
Yeah, I can
If
imagine.
you ever travel Qantas, even within Australia, this is before COVID. Who knows? After COVID, things would be very different. But their food and their service is outstanding.
Okay, well, like I said,
My endorsement for an airline.
that's one of my goals is to do some segments on food on an airline. So, okay, so first of all, we got a driver. He met us there, very nice guy, and we drive. We drive to.
It prearranged. We had it
Prearranged.
all prearranged because
Right.
I didn't want to. For me, I don't like to get into a strange country, not knowing my, no way around. Get in a taxi, they take me all loopy-loo to God knows where, and total stranger.
And
So
this
I'd
is-
rather prearrange, prepaid, don't have to deal with the cash issue, and just get to my
It
destination.
was really great. Connection to Cruise in here in Redlands, they're the ones that helped coordinate this whole thing.
Yes.
And
Thank you,
applause
Marlis
to
and George.
Yeah, they did a great job. The funny thing is, in Europe, you don't tip anybody. Okay, that's just in Europe, well, period.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, the driver was really nice. So he gave him a tip, and he looks at us like, what the hell's this?
Of course, it was like, gave him like 20 euros, and he's like, okay, that's not enough for the ride, because the ride was a lot more. But I already prepaid, so,
So he had to call his boss
so
up.
he thought, okay, we're paying $20 for this long
Trip.
special pickup.
It was so funny. But we both, Izzy and I both looked
He
at
had
each
a
other.
bewildered look on his
And
face.
so did we. Were like, oh crap, we didn't tip him enough. So as was, he realized it's for him. So that was nice. But
And
now-
then we had the hotel. They were so nice. They ran out there to help us, with the luggage, get it inside, get a porter, get the whole 9 yards. Checked in, waiting for our rooms. So they had to baggage, lock it up and
so of
everything.
course we wanted to, give the guy the tip there. It was like a deer in headlights. He looked at us, and both of us looked at each other like,
He looked at us like,
"That's all."
well, it was like, what's this for?
What's this for? To me, I got it as that's all. That's all you're giving me, and it was like $20 or 20 euros. Which
Yeah, but he was like
dumbfounded, yeah.
dumbfounded we gave him any money,
And we
period.
spoke some English. We were saying, "No, it's for you. It's a tip. It's for you." And then
And he was like, oh, totally
Yeah,
okay, never heard of it kind of
So
thing.
that's one thing we noticed in all the places except for one restaurant where at the end the guy showed us that tips not included. Tips not included. Well, of
Well,
course
because it's a tourist area, so they used to tourist tipping.
Right.
When it's culturally, like, I remember going to Europe, it was always included in our meal, so it wasn't like something you upcharge.
I think it
it's
is
a
in
very
there, too.
American and Asian thing. Because I remember in Asia growing up in Hong Kong, we always tipped. We tip people in the bathroom so you can use a nice
Toilet
clean
paper, yeah.
bathroom. So
So-
it's one of those things. But it's just a different culture.
Right. So we landed in a place called, it's a Prati district. It's kind of like the head district in
It's
Rome,
it's
downtown
literally
Rome.
like a local district that people live in, that want to live near,
It's
center
like-
of Rome.
It's kind of like New York. They live on top and the stores are on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
All narrow streets, very narrow.
That's all over Rome, but our area wasn't touristy. It was more like the locals lived there. It was
Right.
near the Vatican, walking distance. It was near the train station. It was a very convenient area. Lots of local shops, lots of local eateries.
We felt safe walking around
Oh
there.
yeah, totally. And people were walking dogs and everything.
But-
So it wasn't like touristy area. So we didn't encounter the tourist upcharge situation in
Right.
this neighborhood whatsoever.
But it was very, very narrow streets, one-way streets, parking on both sides of the street with a small, narrow for cars. The cars are all tiny, tiny cars.
This is all over Rome.
Motorcycles, bikes. That's it. In and out. I mean, it was crazy. Yet there's millions of small little businesses there. So I don't know how they can find it, but that's another story we'll get into. So of course we get off the plane and we're like, oh, we're starving. We can't wait for the first meal in Rome.
8 a.m.
and
8
guess-
a.m.
and guess
So mind
what?
you, we have all day. This is Sunday.
Yeah, it's
All day thinking, oh, Sunday. Lots of places to go, lots of places to see, lots of things to do.
eat.
No room. Everything's closed. Like everything.
It was
It's like
Labor
swatting
Day.
flies.
It was Labor Day in
for
Europe.
for Europe, yeah. So Italy, Greece, it was Labor Day that day.
So most everything was shut down. Some opened up later in the afternoon. We did walk
But
around.
not in the morning.
We did walk around looking for stuff, and we found one little place. It's a kind of a walk-in. They have a few little tables there, and basically a pizza. And
It's a walk up.
they have pan pizzas, a lot of different sheet pans. What they do is they cut. Tell them how much you want. They cut it.
You point
and-
at the
and
pizza
they
you
weigh it.
want, you tell them how big you want, and then they weigh it by gram.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. And he also made a couple of things for us. First time I ever
Special.
had a fried rice ball with stuffed with cheese and
yeah,
meat and
those are
stuff.
awesome.
That was excellent. But the
Supply,
pizza
it's
was
called soupli.
yeah, it was excellent. The Roma pizzas are cracker thin, and it was really, really good. But cracker thin versus other types of
Think
pizzas.
of a tortilla that got toasted.
Yep.
And there's some cheese on top, maybe a very light topping.
But it was excellent. I mean,
It was good, but I think I really prefer the other styles
Yeah, well,
instead of Roman style.
See, I like that. I like the Roman style because it was so thin. But anyway, we'll get into that later. So the first day we walked around and we went on a tour of the
No,
Vatican.
the second day.
Second day. Okay, sorry.
No, actually, yeah,
Second day. Went to the Vatican. At first, I didn't want to go. The last thing I want to see is religious stuff, but I went anyway just to please somebody, Izzy. And
I've been, so I didn't do it for myself because I've seen it before.
but she
and
says
I've
you
been
got to
to
go.
Rome.
Forget the religious part. You got to go see it. You got to go see it. So we get there, and all I can say is, wow! It is a wowing place. It's gigantic. As big as you think it is bigger than that. I've never walked so much, and that was kind of set the stage for the whole trip. We walked, I want to say, 5 miles up and down steps. All the streets are cobblestone. The Vatican itself is, unsteady walking, but again, there's so much history. Every inch of the wall, ceiling, floors, everything floors had all marble, inlaid marble, beautiful marble, mosaic stuff. They had the murals from Michelangelo and just all over the place with all the big artists at the time and everything, and it was fascinating. And the lady who took us around, she was very knowledgeable, and I highly recommend getting a group tour, but getting it at 7 o'clock in the morning, because when we walked out, there was a huge crowd of people going in.
Body to body,
Yeah, so-
lined up around this Vatican wall.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth seeing. Forget the religious part, just going and awing at history and just how incredible detailed they were way back when. That's the thing that got me, whether it was a bronze statue or marble statue or whatever. It was just amazing.
Like a lot of these were found basically when they're like digging up or trying to, do renovations for buildings or whatever in Rome or around surrounding areas. And they realized there were all these civilizations underneath. So they just built on top. What happened was one civilization's gone, instead of tearing it all down, what they did was just fill it with dirt, next layer. So there were multiple layers like a lasagna. And all over Italy, and things were built on top of things. So whenever they trying to dig up to make a building or whatever, they end up digging up these artifacts or like before Christ, like BC.
Right.
So it's several, long time, like more than how many thousands years
Lots.
ago.
It's overwhelming how
Yeah.
old these are. I mean, I was trying to figure it out. I gave up. But the other thing too about it is that in the middle of their cities where people are walking businesses, and right next door, boom, is artifacts, the ruins of different things, the Colosseum and everything, which we'll get into later. But that's what amazed me was so much right within the city limits, and that was kind of neat. Another place we went to is called the Jewish Ghetto, and this is an area where Jews were pretty much had to stay. They couldn't go around Rome or anything, and that's where they lived. And it was like a long, giant, long street where they lived, and they had businesses there. And so we ate there, everything, kosher meals there. It was kind of fun to see that. And then my highlight was there was a bakery that was family-owned. It's 300 years old. Same family has owned it for 300 years. And all they make is like 5 different things. They make like a strudel type thing. They make a cheesecake with berries and God knows a couple other things, which we have no idea what it was, but it was sure good. But that was kind of interesting. And
Okay, just stop right there. It might be good to you, but to me, one bite, I think I could have been pushed over. Like if I wasn't done diabetic, I would have turned diabetic after that one bite. It was so sweet. I couldn't even really chew on that one bite.
It was very sweet. But back to the diabetic comment, I don't think if you're diabetic or have heart problems, I wouldn't go to Rome. Italy was. Breakfast is what? Croissants?
Oh, no. Not the normal croissants like you think we get here, like butter croissants, which is salty.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, no, it's not salty. So I'm here thinking, chocolate croissant or croissant, plain croissant. Plain, because I want it salty versus sweet, right? With my cappuccino in the morning. It's sugar glazed. All the croissants were sugar glazed. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is it all sweet? There is nothing.
And stuffed with jelly, stuffed with
everything
chocolate.
is sugar. It was like carbs and sugar, like over the top.
Plus dinners there, obviously, pizza and pasta was the main stars of most every restaurant. They had some great, they had seafood there. They had beef and, lamb and stuff like that. Vegetables are really outstanding, very, very fresh. The tomatoes were as sweet as I've ever had them anywhere.
So we had this tour guide during one of these tours was telling us about how because they have a volcano nearby, and a lot of the plants basically are grown in that climate plus the volcanic soil that causes these tomatoes to be so sweet. It tastes like sugar, literally. I mean, if you bite into a tomato here, when I got home, tasted a tomato, I was almost like sad, wanted to cry because it was so disappointing. Because over there, tomatoes taste like tomatoes, but sweet, like it's like a natural sweetness.
Yeah, it was incredible.
But
all the
phenomenal.
vegetables were really, really great. They really take a lot of pride in that. So, again,
and I learned about all kinds of like nettle and different things they were eating. Remember all these vegetables?
Greens
I've
and
never
stuff. We
seen them
never heard of
before.
them.
Yeah.
In terms of churches, there's 900 different churches, or 900 churches just in Rome itself. And Rome is just a city, so can you imagine 900? Everywhere you look, there's churches. So that was interesting.
Well, because the church basically took over any old buildings that need restoration, or at one point was for pagan gods.
Right.
They turned it into a church.
Right.
So there's all these old structures. There were like landmarks, like the Pantheon. It originally was not a church. Now they turned it into a church. They have mass there.
Yeah, we went there. The Colosseum, that was kind of remarkable. again, we took a private tour. That's the other thing I was going to tell you about. If you do go, I highly recommend you get a private tour. To become a tour guide, you got to take an incredible test. It's not just anybody.
Official tour guide, not just some guy in the car driving you around.
Yeah.
In order to get a tour guide like badge for them and bypass a line or take you on a tour on site somewhere in Italy, tell them the amount of people have to go for a test. And it only happens once every 4 or 6 years.
I want to say
test.
he said 4,000 people.
No. Like 20,000 would apply for this.
Was that what it was?
Go for like this thing.
It was a lot.
The
Anyway.
first wave, they weeded down from 20,000 people to like 4,000. From that 4,000 people, they have to go for these interviews and this test. And they have to know the history. And they will select about a handful, like couple hundred, like 100, 200 people. And this is once every 4 or 6 years. So if you want to be a tour guide there to be actually licensed, it is a huge, like, feat to get to that point.
Yeah, it's just not me or you.
No, not just anybody can say, hey, I'm a tour guide, you know.
So highly recommend that versus a large tour. First of all, they customize it. So if you're limited mobility, like I am sometimes, then they'll take their time and everything, and they'll take you around whatever you want. If you want just a culinary experience, they'll take you around. When you tell them where you want, they'll take you there. It's like $70 an hour, but well worth it. I can't say enough about it. The streets are very, very narrow, all cobblestones. Most of the time we're okay. The flat streets I was okay with. It was the steps that killed me. I've never walked so many, especially the ruins. Oh my goodness, it was kind of scary.
Well, and plus it's on hills.
Yep.
If you think about it, because there had layers, like lasagna layers, and start digging, well, there's hills now because they dug into the ground. So you're hiking up hills, down hills, uphill, downhill, just to look at things, you know?
Yep. No, a lot of stuff. And
a lot of history.
It's like one large parking lot. I've never seen so many cars in such a small area. And again, all the streets are one way. And,
not all of them. I saw some two ways. No, some major
maybe the
streets
major ones, but the small ones, it was all little alleys and stuff. But the taxi drivers, except for one who kind of ripped us off, all the other ones were very nice. They took us right to where we wanted to. Very reasonable prices, everything. I highly recommend going there. Don't rent a car. It's the worst thing you could do. You'll never find parking. So, but taxi drivers were pretty good. So when you get there, if you go on a cruise, you can take cruises on the ship. Personally, I would rather go on wherever you go. You can get tours right there. And the hotel, if you're staying at a hotel, they know who to call and get you there. So, and they're all reliable. We had no problems,
Yeah, I booked some online. I did do some online ones, and it turned out amazing. So, really I think it's a crapshoot. Sometimes you get a good one. Like the one that took us through the
Colosseum,
Palatine Hill, all the history basically of Rome. He is a forensic archaeologist, and he's a university professor. This is his side gig, and he does this.
Teaches in Rome.
One-on-one. Yep, teaches in Rome University. And he's from U.S., and he actually grew up in D.C. His dad was a diplomat, and he went to Rome when he was a young kid, and just the history fascinated him, and that's how he ended up be a PhD in that field. And took us on, the tour, and we gained so much knowledge from him. And it's the truth, not.
He walks around with you. He talks to you. Takes his time.
Explained everything, and it was really neat to, talking to somebody that's that knowledgeable. I'm not saying that all the other tour guides weren't.
Well, they were,
but he was very thorough.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of knowledge, and you can see his passion.
But all the tour guides, I think, were well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Other things to consider is there are some restaurants there that we went to, businesses that have no toilet seats, just the toilet. So I'll leave that to your imagination. Toilet paper is usually one ply. You leave that for your imagination. Let's see what else. You're constantly dodging in and out of traffic.
And there's no public toilets, by the way. So,
yeah.
And we even tried going on a cafe and try buying something so we can use their toilet, and we got turned away. Even though we want to buy something.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so we want to be a customer, and you didn't want me to be a customer, so I can't use your toilet. Okay, whatever.
Crazy.
I don't get it. Whatever.
I know. The other thing too is a lot of storefronts, really neat stores. If you like shopping, shop around. There's all kinds of areas there. We went to small little ones, but we went to a place where the tourists don't go, and there are a bunch of street
It's all the
vendors.
locals, yeah.
And that's where they have clothes and jewelry and really, really outstanding stuff. Very inexpensive linen, all kinds of linen
If you
shirts
like
and
anything
dresses.
linen, I think in U.S., like right before I went, I bought like a pair of pants and a top. My linen top was probably like $80-something for this little tank top. Over there, I can buy like a
25.
whole entire outfit for like less than 50.
Yeah.
So if you like linen, which they wear a lot of linen in Europe in the summer because it's cool, it's lightweight, it's it breathes really easily because it's so humid and hot. So a lot of people do wear linen. So if you like linen, that's a place for you.
The other thing too is wear tennis shoes. That's it. Don't wear sandals. Don't wear you don't see any women with high heels. The women and the men there were dressed up in suits and stuff. They're all
very nicely dressed.
Oh, very much. I mean, they're all
But they all have sensible shoes.
right.
Sensible shoes, even heels. They have it's like more platform or more chunky heels, so that when you hit these cobblestone streets, you don't get a twist your ankle.
Yeah, I mean, they have tons and tons of shoe stores, so you may want to buy shoes there rather than bring them there. People were very, very nice. All the Italians that we met were very nice.
Very warm.
Very warm. That's something that came out. The same thing in Greece, we'll talk about later. In terms of businesses, there's tons and tons and tons of small restaurants, bars, gelato. If you like ice cream gelato, they have lots of places like that.
And just keep in mind, our gelato in U.S. is like much thicker and heavier than.
This is lighter.
Yeah. So our ice cream is ice cream. Gelato is like this dense, heavier, richer form of ice cream, right? Well, there, gelato is ice cream, basically. So don't think you're going to get something heavy, like rich. It's just ice cream.
Yeah, but it's very, very good. And they have all kinds of unusual
It's all
flavors.
usually homemade.
Stuff that you never heard of, and try those. They have a McDonald's there. They have a couple of them. They have, I think, a Whopper, a Burger King there.
It's all self-serve, most of it.
And we went to one. We had to
use the restroom.
We had to use the restroom, so we bought a Coke and went down there. But that's it. Hopefully no one saw us and everything. But
they do sell croissants and coffee.
Yeah, they have a different menu.
They have a separate cafe area.
But that's part of the joy of traveling, is trying street foods, trying foods that they normally eat. And
they had chestnuts, that roasted chestnuts on the streets.
I've never seen that before.
Neat.
But like I said, things that I would do, if you're diabetic and stuff, bring some protein bars because you're not going to see them there. There's a lot of carbs, which is fine if you walk it off. That's the other thing. I think we walked off over 10 miles of walking. Everyone there weighs 100 pounds. There's no more.
Yeah, at least 5 or 10 miles.
You never see anybody overweight Italians there.
And we cabbed most places, so it wasn't like we're hiking across the. It just accumulates the steps. Because everywhere, even when the cab drops you off somewhere, they can't really get near to wherever the attractions you need to go.
So you gotta walk.
So you kind of have to walk. So yeah, I mean.
And again, if you have a small tour guide or it's a very small tour, they'll walk with you, so it's fine. We went on one to where did we go with that one large one? Pompeii, and they were just sprinting, and we were way behind. Mr. Walker here. And anyway, we caught up with them and everything. And Pompeii was excellent. You should go. It's a lot of walking. It's a lot of up and down stairs and everything. Very uneven. Very fascinating. Really, really fascinating. I would highly recommend it. Almost all the tours, they have them accommodating for people who are handicapped or have.
But make sure, because
make sure
when I booked the tour, it says limits of 20 or 13 people. End up being a 50 people tour bus. So that was kind of misleading. And I did this online, so it wasn't anybody there. And I was very disappointed because I wanted this. I like the small tours. I like the personalized experience. I like having a tour guide kind of one-on-one. Anything more than 5 people is a bit too large.
It's almost
for me.
like they talk and rote. There's just boom, 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 boom. And it just throw all this information at you, which it's impossible to remember. All my photos, I have no idea. I took pictures of landmarks with the name on it, so I remember where it is. But after a while, all of them looked alike. all the buildings.
Especially after 8 hours of traveling. It was like a 12-hour day to Pompeii and through the Amalfi Coast to Positano, which is like a resort, local, like Laguna. Just imagine Laguna Beach area. Lots of steps going downhill, uphill, whatever. So if you're not good with that, don't go. There's no flat ground, really.
Well, we'll talk about Greece later, but
that's not Greece. That was Italy.
Oh, the Italy one. Okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Positano.
Yeah, that was it. But like I said, just be, if you have any problems, no problem. They have tours strictly for people who can't walk, have problems with wheelchair. They have them there for us, or not us, but for people who need it. So, but do your homework on that. That's important.
Definitely.
What else can we tell you? The airport in Rome is, how do you describe it? Think of the worst airport you've been in terms of people and magnify it by 1,000. That's Rome Airport. You really have to know what's going on there.
I think it's just overall a cultural thing. I think even in Italy and Rome, in the big cities, in Napoli, you look around, it's just mass. If you're like an OCD, like type A person, the chaos will drive you nuts.
But it's organized.
It's an organized chaos, but it's a constant chaos, including the airport.
Right.
There's lines everywhere. Nobody knows why they're staying in that line, and it's every direction. You don't know where anything is.
It's like the cars are parked. One's parked straight. One's parked backwards. One's parked next to each other. It's like whatever one you want to do, you do there, kind of. But we saw no accidents, no crazy people there. And the same thing with Napoli. Napoli, I really liked. It's a lovely city. It's a big, huge beach city area there. A lot of cruise ships went there, and it's just gorgeous. Definitely take a private taxi if you can, or a private driver to go there. There's a lot of insights into the city. A lot to see and do there. Napoli, it was very. It was more metropolitan, I think, than any other one. Maybe Rome was just as bad.
Yeah, I think it's like Rome, but it's just more sea. You get the ocean right there.
Yeah.
So it's a little more like you feel like you're at the Mediterranean. So it has more of the Mediterranean feel, because in Rome you don't get this. You're more landlocked, so you're not seeing the ocean.
Yeah, it's away from the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Pizzas, if you like pizza, Napoli is definitely where we want to go. I had a list of places, but they're all in in Italian, and we didn't have much time.
All over the city.
They're all over, literally.
And the city is like travel. It's like Rome. It's very highly populated. Traffic is awful. So just driving from one side of the island to another side or different places, you're seeing a lot of traffic, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So count for that, because if you're tight on time, don't try to do too many things, because you're gonna go overwhelm yourself.
Right, but definitely go. Napoli is definitely worth going to. The other thing too, the pizzas there are amazing. Every corner's got 15 pizza parlors, and it's just that's where the margarita pizza started there, and those kind of pizzas basically is what all ones are built upon.
Yeah, but because the
so
tomatoes
good.
are so good there.
It's chewy, it's light.
You just taste the chewy dough that bounces back at you, and then they get the tomatoes that are sweet. I mean, you can see the crushed tomatoes. I mean, that's how the sauce looked like. It's just and
nothing like what you eat here.
No, and then you get the buffalata or whatever. The cheese that's like creamy on top, like it's cream cheese. Oh, it's to die for. I mean, here I would probably never order a plain pizza, but over there, a plain pizza is so lovely, that is so refreshing, that you actually do want to order it. So
right.
Yeah.
And we went to one place. It was, I think, Tony. Well, I'll write it down on my website. But first we get there, I read about it, and they said, we should go. Outdoor dining, lovely place.
There's indoor too.
Yeah, there was a brother and I believe his cousin, right?
Yeah, I think it's all over.
Right near the Vatican.
Yes.
And when you sit down, they give you an antipasto, like 2 different pizzas and fried things and 3 different things.
3 pizzas.
All kinds of stuff. That's just before the main entrees. So after all that, we were full.
We're not picking anything. This is what they want to bring you.
They give you that. Then they ask you, do you like
you
want pasta? Yeah, we like pasta. They bring 3 bowls.
It was 3 different sauces.
Big bowls of sauces, different kinds of sauces. Then they go meat, turtle, fish. We're like, oh no. So he said fish, and he brought us fried calamari, fried shrimp. Everything was really, really good. I enjoyed it. And then they asked if we want dessert, and we were like, no. And it was like $60, but well worth it
For 2 people.
for 2 people.
No tip. Just remember, no tip.
Right.
So it's a flat rate.
And the other thing too is the food there is really cheaper than here or anywhere else. And for the quality of food that you get, even though it's a lot of carbs and stuff, the quality
Even
overall
grocery.
was
I
very
went to a
good.
little like convenient walk-up store, like a tiny walk-up neighborhood, and even their snacks and everything is a lot cheaper than what would pay here in U.S.
Right.
It just blows your mind.
Gas is about here. It's
No,
it's
it's a
about the
little
same,
more.
a little bit more maybe.
Yeah.
But it was a little pricey, and they have the same complaints as we do against their government. So it's not just Biden; it's just it's the way it is. I mean, Greece the same way. They complain against their government, so that's just the nature of the beast. But
Surprisingly, like all the Romans that you met, most of them weren't really thrilled about the religion.
no,
Yeah.
that was the other thing. They expected more with
I
the
think
church.
you were expecting more. People were more religious.
I was expecting, with all the churches and everything, but no, we were told by many people that they're like, they're just kind of fed up with the church here because they think they should be doing more for the people. And when you see all this gold, everything gold laden and everything, it's pretty amazing. I think the only person that could probably buy everything there is Elon Musk. I want to say they had like $45 billion worth of artwork and paintings and stuff, and he's got more than that, I think. So, but definitely worth going to. It's a real adventure. We spent 5 days there, and I think
barely saw anything.
we can still get more and everything. I think.
You can be there for 2 weeks and you barely scratch the surface.
Well, between Venice, between all the other cities.
Well, no,
too.
just Rome alone. I mean, if you really want to see Rome and you visit everywhere in Rome, it would take you probably a good 2 weeks to see even some of the stuff just in the city area because there's so much.
Right.
There's so many structures, so many history. So
Yeah, the history is the part that got me. Is just here you are sitting with these ruins, and you're just thinking, the people that walk here. That's what I was thinking. Like, who touched this? It's just amazing. And
the civilization before, they had like warm water running through the house.
they had pipes.
They had pipes,
they
the
still show
ceramic pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had pipes. They had warm water. They had running water in their house.
The thing that got me, the Colosseum. Yeah, they had they're killing each other. That was part. It was entertainment. Whatever entertainment was, that's what they had. One of which was wild animals. People loved to see wild animals. They didn't have movies or anything. So
and people didn't leave their area.
Right.
So if you're not from Africa, you wouldn't know there's tigers, elephants, giraffes.
So they brought them all there, and they had cages underneath the flooring that actually came up. It lifted up, and then it came up, and they were running around there. So I mean, it's like Cirque du Soleil. You don't expect that way back when. Mm-hmm. But that was fascinating. The Colosseum was really really
because they had
amazing.
chambers underneath the ground, basically.
Right.
Yeah, they're all in their own little cubby hole.
So, anyway, you guys, I think would really like it if you go to Rome or Italy itself. I think overall it was a fun experience. I definitely would go again. I just wouldn't drive. I would definitely not drive. I would definitely get tours there when you're there. They have enough people that speak English that you have no problem there. The food is overall very good. Prices were pretty inexpensive, and they're very welcoming to Americans. Very, very, and most of them speak English and really, really nice. So we can't get to Greece. We're running out of time here. We have a guest coming in, but we'll get Greece next week. But I want to let you know about two of our sponsors. One is Bowler and Bowler. It's a family law firm. It's in Redlands. And if you're going through family crisis, divorce, separations, anything like that, you definitely want to get someone on your side who's knowledgeable, who's friendly, whose staff will work with you, and they don't talk down to you. They explain everything and they take their time with you. And Bowler is fantastic. It's a father-son, Toby Bowler and Sean Bowler, and they're really, really good people. So I can say a lot of them have been recommended to me and to Izzy, and I highly recommend them. They're located in Redlands, and look under Bowler, Bowler, and Bowler Family Law, and I really, really appreciate them, and I think you will too. Another sponsor of ours is Ray's Shanghai Bistro in Redlands, and Ray's is spelled RUI''S, Shanghai Bistro. It's on Lagonia, not too far from the DMV. Really authentic Chinese food, nice people, great portions, They really get quality food there. That's all I can say. It's probably the best Chinese restaurant in the Inland Empire. I can't say enough about them.
And they'll tailor to your needs. If you're vegetarian, they have that option too. So definitely, it's a great place locally to go try. It's family owned. The husband actually is behind the scenes cooking your meals, so it can't get any more family owned than that.
Yeah. So, and again, if we like it, you're gonna like it. That's the bottom line. So it's Ray's RUI' Shanghai Bistro .net, I believe it is. So,
And then also we want to thank Soaring Swine Acres.
Soaring Acres, really good people. Mary, they're in Yucaipa. Whether you go to the store in California, on California Street, or go on to soaringswineacres.com, you'll find some incredible small batch vinegar. Actually, jams, jellies, honey, pickles, you name it. Just all says they make over about 350
and
different types.
tea, voodoo tea.
Yeah, they've gone crazy with that stuff. So we'll have Mary on again too.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
But now we have a guest on who we're going to talk about. With summer coming up, it's not only eating, it's also drinking beer. And with us is Kat Dolan. She's from Rayburn's Sandwiches and Rayburn's RAYBERNS.com. And welcome to the Let's Dine Out show, Kat.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Our pleasure. Why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and basically what you'll be discussing with us?
Absolutely. So, I'm with Rayburn's Sandwiches, and Alan, I think you've had Rayburn's before, but we're the number one selling frozen Philly cheesesteak. We also make a lot of different other frozen sandwiches, and so, like you said, summertime, we're looking for easy foods to make and refreshing beverages. And so I love pairing my sandwiches with a great beer.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that. So let's talk about some fun facts with beers, because you're the expert on beers too.
Well, I definitely know how to drink them. So I will say that beer and wine, of course, are the oldest beverages that, we've made as humans. And so they tested pottery in Iran, and over 7,000 years ago, they found traces of beer. So it's very old. And so a lot of beer falls into basically two styles, so ales and lagers. And the difference basically between the two is that in lagers, the yeast gathers at the bottom of the tank during the fermentation process, making the beer crisp, clean, and refreshing. And then with ales, the yeast gathers at the top. So these beers are more aromatic, a little bit more fruity. And my favorite fun fact is that in 1912, brown bottles were invented in Milwaukee to prevent the beer from harmful sun rays, to protect the quality of the beer.
Wow. I knew you were an expert in beer. Now, in terms of some fun practices, in terms of pairing beers and foods, I know I wouldn't know how to do that. What are some hints you can give our listeners?
Well, there's really no wrong way to do it. So they recommend, pairing contrasting flavors, pairing complementary flavors, and then pairing or matching the strength for the strength. So, if you're drinking something like a stout or a bold beer, pairing it with barbecue ribs or, a Rayburn's Philly is the perfect match because it's a really strong beer with a strong food. If you're looking to contrast, a pale ale, India Pale Ale or IPA, or a stout with maybe something a little bit more bitter or something like that would pair really well.
But the bottom line is whatever you like, drink it, right?
That's what I always say. Yeah. If you like the beer and you like the food, the pairing can't be so bad.
I once met Robert Mondavi, and I just said, Mr. Mondavi, what do you think about people like myself who drink wine with 7-Up, Diet 7-Up? And he looks at me, puts his hand around my shoulder and goes, son, as long as you buy my wine, I don't care. And that's kind of like with beer. As long as a lot has changed over the years. It used to be, like with wine, reds with meat and white with fish and stuff. Now, it kind of like anything goes, and especially with beer, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And you'll find, too, like there are dessert beers, like sort of a more like chocolatey type of stout that would definitely make sense with maybe a dessert or a chocolatey type food. But I'm in the camp of if you like the beer, I always drink light beers or like fruitier, like I'm not a big like IPA girl.
Mm-hmm.
So pairing those with basically any of the foods that I like works for me, you know?
So what's your go-to snack and beer pairing?
Yeah, so, if you have something like sliders or burgers or sandwiches, those hoppy IPAs pair really well with that 'cause it's super meaty, but the beers, especially their sliders, they're a little bit smaller, so that those kinds of beers are really filling too. So it's a good pairing. If you're eating bratwurst or something, German, try a lager, try a German beer. Just keep it all in the same family. Sometimes it's fun to eat and drink within the same, nationality of sorts. Or if you're just out having a barbecue or grilling with friends or bringing a side dish, jalapeno poppers, potato wedges, any of those pair super well with a pale ale, something light and refreshing, especially as we spend more time outside.
Right. You're listening to a Let's Sign Out show right here on AM 1050, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. And with us is Kat Dolan. She's from Rayburn's Sandwiches. And in terms of Rayburn's, what makes that the ideal pairing snack? I know a lot of people I know who buy it. And what are some of the reasons why people should buy it? What makes them so interesting?
Well, if you love sandwiches are so versatile, right? So I love our Philly cheesesteak. That's my favorite. About our roast beef and cheddar is super delicious, or our chicken bacon ranch. And actually what I like to do, and what a lot of Rayburn stands like to do, is we make a couple and cut them into thirds or halves and just serve them on a party platter or charcuterie with all of your favorite snacks. I just think it's a super great way to, give a filling but delicious, easy meal. So they're frozen sandwiches, and you can microwave them for 90 seconds, and they're ready to go. What I love about this product is our bakery soft bread is, patented bread that, typically when you microwave something frozen, especially a frozen bread,
Right.
Yeah, it can get kind of funky, right? It can get either too hard or too mushy. But our bread is bakery soft right out of the microwave. So it's just a really great, easy frozen option for those who are a little bit hungry.
Now, in our area, you can get Rayburn's at Vaughn's, Smart and Finals, and Albertsons. I've seen them in Smart and Finals. That's where I get mine from. And what else can you talk about your website? It's Rayburns, RAYBERNS.com. And what else can you tell us about the website? Because you have all kinds of recipes and all kinds of good stuff on there.
Yeah, so we have all of our different varieties, and even some of our new varieties that we're launching are available to check out. We have a store locator too, so if you're just looking for a store nearby that, to find us, we have that. And then, of course, on social media, on Facebook, we're at Rayburn's. Instagram, we're at Rayburn's Sandwiches. On Twitter, we're at Rayburn's Tweets, and we do giveaways all the time. So check us out and give us a follow, and hopefully win some Rayburns.
You mentioned new product launches. What can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So we do have a breakfast sandwich line coming down the pike with Dollar General stores. So keep your eyes peeled as you're in Dollar General for our Rayburn's breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Breakfast is probably the hardest meal of the day. I don't know about Izzy. Is it easy for you too, or what?
No, actually, I tend to skip that meal because it's just, I find it time consuming because I'm always in a rush in the morning and try to do whatever I need to do. And so for me, just like
Microwave it.
Yeah, I mean, for sitting down to make something, that's huge. So something like this is so much more easy. Just stick it in. It's convenient. It's readily available.
Right.
I don't have to prepare it, like find all the pieces to put it together because, I'm trying to get to a teleconference or whatever. So, I find, something like this is so convenient to just have on hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the idea of a charcuterie, spread with small pieces of the sandwich.
That's really smart. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, neither. So, in terms of how long has the company been around?
Yeah, so we've been around for almost probably over 40 years now. So the recipe was developed, ironically, by Ray and Bernie. And so, a strong love of a Philly cheesesteak sandwich really blossomed into our company and turning it what it is today.
Wow, that's great. Well, I look forward to tasting the new ones coming out. When will the breakfast ones be out?
They should be out here within the next couple of weeks, so keep your eyes peeled at Dollar General specifically for those ones.
Great. And again, you can get the regular ones at Vaughn's, Smart and Finals, Albertsons, or go on the website, Rayburn's, BERNS.com. And they have all the information of other stores you can go and get them from, as well as recipes. And Kat, I really appreciate it. Any last minute words about wonderful Rayburn sandwiches?
Yeah, no, just have a good time this summer. Be sure to pair your Rayburns with a nice cold beer and have fun.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. You know how to live, don't you?
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, you take care. Bye-bye. God, good food and a good cold beer. I'll tell you, it's one thing in Europe when we're both, I can't drink beer, only liquor because of all the medications I take. I can either eat, diabetic, you can either eat or drink, and I'd rather eat. Izzy's allergic to alcohol, so she can't, but that would have been really nice. They had all kinds of incredible beers and wines there. All the tours, if you like wines, oh my goodness, tons and tons of wine tours.
Well, plus every region has their specialty wine.
Right.
And their soil, it grows different grapes. So it's really interesting. I mean, I wish I could drink because it makes me like, whenever I travel in Europe, I always feel like I'm missing out something because I don't get to partake in that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, but anyway, Rayburn's is really good. And again, overall, we really enjoyed Italy. When I go to the Pizza Expo, I'm going to have a whole new appreciation. I always had an admiration for the people there, the Italians, the pizziolas there. But it's even more after meeting these people in Italy and coming there, coming back to the United States and everything. It's like, wow, these people really know how to live. They know how to dress, how to have fun. Mm-hmm. And I really admire that. They're really good people. So since we're running out of time today, we're going to be talking about Greece all next week.
Yeah, definitely. So. I mean, there's so much to talk about, really, because, really one show, we barely covered it. And if you're there, you'll understand how overwhelming it is. So much history and so much to see. So.
And then we'll be talking about Celebrity Cruise. We're going to be having a Celebrity Cruise, just to let you know. It's going to be coming up. We're going to be sponsoring one. It's, when is it going to be? I think November 12th. Mm-hmm. Yeah, November 12th. It's going to be 12th through the 19th. It's on a larger ship now. They changed ships. And it's going to Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas, and Ensenada, 7-day.
So it's not like a large shark ship, but originally it started out with a smaller ship, one that's been used for a while now. But then now it's
different class.
Yeah, different class of ship. So it's actually an upgrade. But then because of the group rate, it got locked in on the old price. So you are getting a really good discount just going with the group. So
look me up on Facebook, Allan.Borgen, ALLAN, We'll give you more information. Until next week, food.
3FM Riverside, KCAA, NBC Radio News.com.
This segment sponsored by the generous support of the Dream Team. Looking for the keys to something bigger and better? Downsizing or relocating to the perfect spot? Oscar Ramirez from Century 21 Lois Lauer Real Estate and Matt Flores from Secure Choice Lending are here to help you sell or buy with their trusted and experienced knowledge and advice. People are calling Oscar and Matt at 951-751-3249. That's 951-751-3249. Real estate and loan advisors Oscar and Matt can give you a no-cost consultation. You don't have to buy anything. Matt and Oscar can help you figure your way through the complicated real estate market. Email Oscar at Lois Lauer